Good to go. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the People's Town Hall in St. Augustine. Tonight is an opportunity for voters to hear directly from two candidates seeking to represent this community. Ronnie Murchinson-Rivera, candidate for the United States Congress in Florida's 6th Congressional District, and Suzanna Pavelle, candidate for the Florida House in District 19. Each candidate will receive equal time. We ask that everyone remain respectful and allow each candidate to finish. Audience members may write questions on the index cards provided or raise their hand during the audience portion to ask questions, and I will come to you with the microphone.
You're on the wrong side.
All right.
That's good.
So first, we'll have opening statements from each candidate. Suzanna will go first, followed by Ronnie, 5 minutes each. Suzanna?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm Suzanna Pavelle, and I am running for Florida House District 19. I moved to St. Augustine 26 years ago with my husband, Brian, who's over there. And we started our first business in Florida in 2000. I am a small business owner, and I'm running because I'm tired of complaining about what's broken and wrong in Florida. And I'd like to be part of the solution to turn Florida around, to fix it, to make it more equitable for everybody in Florida. Our legislators are here, and we elect them to help us. And they haven't been over the last several decades. And too many issues, too many decisions are being made by politicians who don't have to deal with the consequences. And I grew up in Massachusetts. I went to a great public school, and I learned about the social contract. And the social contract is that we pay our taxes, and our legislators, they're supposed to work for us. And the legislators in Tallahassee seem to have forgotten that. And when I'm elected, I will work for you. Nearly half of Florida households today are struggling to pay the basic bills. I mean, that's just absolutely appalling. And we need targeted relief for working families, for fixed income seniors, and for first-time home buyers. And the Homestead Amendment that's on the ballot in November is not the solution for that. One easy fix that we can bring in $2.4 billion a year is by closing corporate tax loopholes. And that would make a big difference for Floridians. One of the issues that we're seeing is home rule is disappearing in the state of Florida. And home rule is what gives our county commissioners the ability to say no to development. And growth without infrastructure is the problem that we're seeing every day. And the rapid growth is also causing economic issues because we're having to pay for infrastructure after development, like we're seeing in St. Augustine and in Palm Coast. Developers need to pay the full documented cost for development, and they're not right now. They need to pay for the roads, the schools, the drainage, the water. And the taxpayers shouldn't be left holding the bill after the next big development gets put in place. Additionally, the new agricultural enclave law, has anybody heard about this new bill? Oh, this is awesome. It just got passed in the Florida legislature, and basically what we can do is take big, huge tracts of farmland and rapidly develop them. So I went to the Board of County Commissioner meeting today to discuss the Board of County Commissioners trying to put a stop to it if they can, or at least delay it. If you don't do anything to oppose it, it'll go into effect really quickly. And that's tens of thousands of homes going in. Public education is a big issue in Florida. Florida has ranked 50th in teacher pay 3 years in a row. We need to raise teacher pay, and we need strong public schools because strong public schools strengthen our neighborhoods, and they also help with our home values. And part of the issue with the public schools that we're seeing is the voucher programs. Is everybody familiar with the voucher programs in Florida? So what it's doing is it's taking money away from public schools without really any accountability, and you can use vouchers for non-educational purposes. As a Florida legislator, I would like to try to rein in the voucher program, and I feel that with public money that's going to schools, there has to be accountability, and we're not really seeing that right now. And we also should see testing. So if you're going to be using voucher money, the students should have testing to make sure that they are learning on the same basis, regardless if public money is being used. There has to be accountability across the board. And healthcare is also an affordability issue. In Florida, we reject $10 to $11 billion a year in Medicaid money, and we could easily pull that money back in, but it's a culture war issue, which has been an issue in Florida. The culture wars seem to be what's driving a lot of the political decisions. But if we were able to take that money in, we would be able to support rural hospitals, support working families. It would help with emergency care. And there's another thing that we could do in the budget. Every year, about $30 million is used in appropriation funds for anti-abortion pregnancy centers, like the guy Doug Russo out there, who's just so lovely. And we could redirect that money towards maternal health care, domestic violence services, affordable child care. So it's just an appropriation that we could redirect money, because one of the issues that people keep on saying is that we don't have any money and we don't have nice things in Florida because our legislature is spending it on their pet projects. And since Sully is here today, I want to quickly address gun safety. She's with Moms Demand Action, and gun safety basically means responsible gun ownership. 6.7 million children in the US live in homes with at least one gun that's loaded and unlocked. And if we have secure storage, sorry, I can't speak today, we could prevent 1/3 of youth firearm suicides and unintentional shooting deaths. In my family, we had an almost incident, which was a little scary with my brother. And, you know, things can be, we just need to have common sense gun reform. So the issues that I spoke about briefly are, a lot of them are bills that have already been drafted. They could be resurrected in the Florida House when I'm elected. And so there's a lot less effort to make some changes to really make some positive impacts for Florida. And what we just need to do is start making some changes, because we keep on electing the same old representatives in the Florida House and the Florida Senate and for governor. And if we make significant voting changes, we can have a Florida that works for everybody, not just big businesses, not just big corporations. So follow me on Facebook. You can donate to my campaign, and you can vote for both of us.
Thank you, Susanna. Ronnie?
It's my turn. How y'all doing today? Thank you guys for coming. We have a lot of work to do. Every day we turn on the news, if you guys still do that. And Mom saying, no, we don't. I mean, it's inevitable right now to not do that, but you turn on the news and you see what's happening in our world. And I'm going to hit on what Susanna said, that you get the same old representative that's been running the state of Florida for the last almost 30 years. Nothing is going to change. And the power in their pockets. So for you guys that don't know, my name is Ronnie Murchinson-Rivera. I'm running for U.S. Congress right here in Florida's 6th Congressional District. I'm not running because I spent my life as a politician. I spent my life serving others ever since a young child. It started when I was young. In church, I met my wife, who's sitting right there in front of you guys. Her name is Julia. She's like my backbone of this campaign, and couldn't do it without her. And I also got my children. As here, I have 5 children, and I'm a I'm a granddad, an early granddad, because we also are foster parents, and we took in a girl about 12 years ago into our household, and 12 years later, she's now like 25, and she gave us an early grandchild. But I've served in EMS in New York City for a long time. I did that for over 15 years of my life. I got into EMS because my godmother worked there, and every time she used to come home, she used to tell me the stories of how she helped somebody, and sometimes it were bad days, but she always used to tell me that's how life is. You're gonna go through some struggles, but you got to be the person to stand up and help that other person, and make sure you get help yourself. I also worked as a law enforcement in Mount Dora Police Department. I worked as a deputy sheriff. This thing keep breaking on me. You guys hear me breaking up? Is it me? Hold on 1 second. I'm so sorry. You want to switch? Yeah. Not my eyes. Technology. They said it was supposed to make the world better, but I don't see that happening anywhere. I mean, maybe. Anyway, I'm gonna just put this in my pocket. Probably.
We need to hear it on air.
Yeah, that's why I have to have a microphone. This way? I feel like I'm about to go on stage and sing for y'all. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everyone. Okay, so it's fine. So as I was saying, I spent my life serving others. I worked in EMS for majority of my life. Born and raised in New York City, I believe is one of the strongest democratic cities we have. And the reason why I say that is because we have elected a mayor recently that actually cares for the people. Not for money, not for power, for the people. And most of my family, a majority of my family, still live in New York City. And they recently did a survey not too long ago that the city is 80% or more happier in only we're in July now, 7 months since this guy been elected. The budget deficit of $10 billion evened out, money coming back to New York City. I'm proud to call New York City my home because we're leading by example. We've been one of the leading states in a democratic, for a long time. A lot of states look towards us. A lot of states receive taxpayer funds from New York City. And so, but, me and my wife was tired of shoveling snow. So almost 10 years ago, we came down here to Florida. We chose Florida to be our home. And the reason why I say this is because, we could have chose anywhere else we wanted to go. We did have a decision. We was decided on Delaware at one point. And no, my wife said no, she loves Florida. We understand the risk because it's a different atmosphere, but we chose Florida to be our home. And I've been here for less than 10 years, and I'm already stepping into here to change. I'm not waiting 20 plus years to see if magically it's going to change because they already had their time. It's time for us to get some young blood in there, start changing what's happening, somebody that can stand up to this regime and change and get what's happening. But a little bit more about me. When I came down to Florida, I got into law enforcement because, like I told you guys, all I knew was how to serve other people. And so I did that for almost 10 years. But also, I sat on educational boards. I was a PTA vice president, treasurer, secretary. I also founded a nonprofit organization in New York City to help give back to my community. And anything you can think of, we did. Back to school events, homeless services, insurance, whatever you can think of that can help the community, we did it. But what I like to tell people is that working in EMS and working in law enforcement was not easy. I've seen people at their hardest times of their lives. I literally seen people die because they couldn't afford health care. Or they saying, I just don't think I can afford that ambulance ride to the hospital. or they won't accept me because it's a different atmosphere there. I mean, what's considered an emergency is very strenuous. Some ERs will just see you and be like, no, you're fine. Take this aspirin, go home because your insurance is not good. And when I came down to Florida and became law enforcement, I saw the same exact problem. So this is not a Florida problem. This is a United States problem. And so what made me push to run for U.S. Congress is that if you guys, I'm only going to say his name once. I'm running against Randy Fine. That's who I'm running to unseat from this seat right here. He don't even live in our district. This is the top point of our district here in St. John's. I live in the southern part in Mount Dora. He lives 3 hours away from there. So he lived almost 3 hours, 4+ hours from here. It's sad. And then the things that he did as a state legislative and then getting into U.S. Congress and just still spreading that hate and that bigotry and that racism. I mean, he's attacking Zohran Mamdani, who don't have nothing to do with the state of Florida because of his race. So when I called this office, because we lost a lot during Hurricane Ian, no answer. My whole community is in disarray, and not one elected official is there to help us. We're going through insurance troubles. You got neighbors next door with disability that can't get out. Where are our elected officials that we put into office to advocate for us? And then the moment he shut me out, I'm like, oh, let me start looking into this, because this is not what the representative I grew up knowing represented people. What ticked my gears is the moment he told children to starve and die. It's because if he can do that to children he don't even know, imagine the children he don't like, because he has many times said that the Democratic Party is the root of all evils. And that means if he don't like me, he must not like my children. And so I put my hat into the race. I was the first one out of any person in this race to run for this office, because I didn't wait. I'm not waiting till things get worse. I never waited. I saw a problem, I stood up to it, and I tried to fight my best to fix it. I failed sometimes, but I got back up and looked it right in the face and kept going at it. We are going through a lot in this country. And I have 3 key priorities for me that I want to tackle when I get to Washington. It's a whole lot more that we need to tackle, of course. But the first thing for me is always going to be healthcare. I say healthcare because I can help you with my second thing, which is affordability. I can help you get your gas prices down. I can help you get your food prices down. I could try to help you with all the problems that we're facing right now, infrastructure problems, all these other things. But if you're not on this earth to enjoy those things, what is the point? Because I literally seen people die because they couldn't go see a doctor. So that's why healthcare is my number one. My number 2 is also affordability, and that's a little bit of everything that I just mentioned. Of course, we want affordable wages. Of course, we want our home prices and stuff to be affordable again. One of my things in affordability that I'm trying to tackle, and this is more for probably the younger generation, the ones who are trying to buy their first-time home and actually make their home, is removing the credit reporting from be able to get in the house. Because as you know, the number one debt on our credit report is medical debt, because they're trying to go see a doctor. My third thing is education. I'm a big advocate for education. I think we need to train our youngins to take this country from us when our time has passed. We need to train the doctors and lawyers and the people that can help us build America the way America should be. There's other things that we need to fight for, like codifying the Equal Rights Act and all these other things that we as Democrats are going to continue to fight for. But we need to take back our country, and we have a real good, strong chance to do it this November. We, the people, just need to elect the right person to make that happen. And so I know I'm going probably over a little of my time, but I'm asking you, voting is coming up. We are like 28 days away from the primary election. I'm going to, Susan and everybody, you've probably been hearing this a lot. Make sure your registration is up to date, your family and friends, because it's very important. They're gerrymandering, they're doing all this stuff with the election fraud and all this stuff because they're scared. They know. Trump is very unpopular. Randy Fine, sorry, I said it twice. It's very unpopular. We have a real good chance to flip this district. We just need the right person in there, the right person that's been fighting against this, some sort of fascist regime his whole life. And that was me. So I appreciate your time and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ronnie. Okay, so first of all, before I go into the next section, it is raining outside and there's a Honda Pilot with their windows open. I just wanted to let you all know that. If that's yours, you might want to go outside and close the windows.
I thought she had a rental car.
Okay. So there will now be 3 questions that I will ask. Each candidate has equal time, approximately 3 minutes per candidate, with brief follow-ups when needed. So the first question is about Florida affordability and the insurance crisis. Florida families are being squeezed by rising housing costs, property insurance premiums, rent, groceries, utilities, and taxes. What specific actions would you take in office to make Florida more affordable, and how would you address the property insurance crisis? Susanna, you're going to take this question first?
Okay, so affordability is more than just taxes. It's housing, it's insurance, it's utilities, it's groceries, healthcare, transportation, and also home rule and the loss that we're seeing of home rule. What we need to do is provide targeted tax relief for working families, fixed income seniors, and first-time homebuyers. Not broad tax cuts like we're seeing with this ballot amendment that's going to defund the police, it's going to defund firefighters, it's going to hurt parks and local services, and also give more control to Tallahassee, because Tallahassee is going to have more money for the budget. I met with the property appraiser in St. Johns County. I'll be meeting with the property appraiser in Flagler County too. And there are real fixes that we can do to increase the homestead exemptions for certain demographics of people, which would make a significant, which would help significantly. And we could also help first-time home buyers. Did you guys know that the average age of first-time home buyers is 40 years old, which is just appalling? And the property appraiser, Eddie Creamer in St. Augustine, has suggested that what we could do is we could not have any of the property taxes for first-time home buyers for 5 years, assuming they don't sell their house. And there's things that we can do like that are common sense that help people, because we really do need to encourage home buying for the first-time home buyers. We can close corporate tax loopholes, like I mentioned earlier, and bring in $2.4 billion annually. And this is a really simple fix we could do just like that. And I just don't understand why we're not doing it. To address housing and insurance costs, we do need to restore home rule, because then the counties can actually address development. Because what's happening is that we get these massive developments and then we have to pay after the fact for the roads, the stormwater, the water, the electricity. And developers really need to pay the documented cost of growth, and they're not. They're just able to come in, they buy the legislators, and didn't just say that, and they just build. And I understand it's nice to be able to do that, but they do have to put the infrastructure first. We can expand and fully fund My Safe Florida Home so that homeowners can strengthen their roofs, their houses from hurricanes. And there are big insurance discounts that they can get usually after they do upgrade their homes. So if we expand and fully fund My Safe Florida, that will help people in Florida. And we also need to demand greater transparency on insurance rates, claims, profits, reinsurance, and also have stronger protection when legitimate claims are delayed or denied. And we need to do something about those damn roof schemes. We just got a new roof less than a month ago, and I got a call today from this guy saying that, oh, he drove by and our roof is falling apart. It's a month old. So, I mean, things like that are just absurd. We need to expand Medicaid. We are walking away from $10.5 billion a year annually in federal funding. So we pay our taxes, and that goes to the federal government. Then they disperse that money. And just because DeSantis doesn't want it, we don't have that Medicaid funding. It could help fund rural hospitals. It would really help working families. It would make a significant impact in Florida. And 40 states have taken the deal, and we have not. Let's see. And healthy communities. Oh, okay. Well, then. Healthy communities do flourish and prosper. So if we are able to take that Medicaid money and put it towards preventative care as opposed to bringing somebody to an emergency room when there is a problem, which is much more expensive, we'll have a much healthier population. So we just can't keep on giving corporations and insurance companies everything they ask for when families pay more and we all receive less. So thank you.
Thank you. Do you want me to repeat the question?
Nope.
All right.
Nope. I agree with everything Susanna said. I mean, see, that state level have so much more power than the federal level when it comes directly to the states, and everything she just talked about is the truth. For a federal level, I also want to push, and I'm going to hit some of her points because on my notes, I got some of those points there. I'm going to just jump a little bit back and forth. But the Medicaid for all thing, the only reason Ron DeSantis don't want it, and he has said it many times, is because it's a Democratic policy. That's it. We literally are letting people die because he don't like a policy that a Democrat made. Or it's just mind blowing to me that he had the cojones to go on live on the news and say that. And you know what? Right after, like, I'm like, you guys are crazy. This state heavily relies on social programs, and we keep voting against our greater good. Do you not know that expanding that will help adults, working families get more insurance than they need? I'm hitting that because I am one of those adults. Working as a law enforcement officer, I made between $70,000 to $80,000 a year, and after everything, I still qualify for Medicaid. And they wanted me to pay $6,000 before my Medicaid can get active per month. It's called a Medicaid share of costs, if you guys don't know what that is. That means if you work and you make a certain limit, you have to spend a certain amount on health care before they can activate your Medicaid, and it renews every month. So, for instance, if it's the 15th of the month and I go to the ER for some reason, my medical bills, because God knows you walk into the ER, you just step in and breathe the air, that's $15,000. You send those paperwork to the state, and from that date forward to the 31st or 30th, whatever month we're in, your Medicaid is active and it resets every first of the month. You have to do it all again. It's called the Medicaid share of costs, all because he don't want to accept Medicaid. Free money. $10 billion a year. Free to help adults get dental care and oral surgery and GYN services and all these things. And why? So it's sensitive to me. That's why I hit on that. But on a federal level, we really have to go after the real root causes. And I think the root causes is coming from these big corporations coming into states and price gouging, buying up lands, just building housing, and then making everything go up and not paying a dime and not contributing at all. They get a lot of grants from the federal government and all these things for affordable housing, and they don't rent it out. They just labeled it as affordable housing and never rent it out. There's nothing that says they have to rent it out. They just said they needed to label it affordable housing. One guy in Mount Dora building over there, sorry, give me another minute. The guy in Mount Dora said it will cost us more money to house affordable housing than to just let it sit there empty. These are the things that we actually dealing with. We need to fix Florida's insurance costs. We need to lower prescription drug costs. We need to model what California just did. They did a great job, especially with life-saving drugs like EpiPens and stuff and insulin. $15, $20. I think that's fair for a life-saving medicine, right? When it comes to property, and I'm talking to y'all and everybody that's watching, I understand that not paying anything in your property taxes may sound good. But that money that has to pay our public services like fire, police, roads, some of that money goes to school teachers and all that stuff, it will come from somewhere. We have to pay these people. It's either we're going to cut something that we need or it's going to get paid by something else. So don't be fooled by titles. Do your research. And one more thing I will say is that when I get to the federal level, we need to strengthen our federal government disaster response team, especially in a state like Florida, where we get hurricanes every single year, I guess. Money that gets allocated from the federal government that goes to Ron DeSantis, he takes it and allocates it to something else that goes to strengthening things like FEMA recovery efforts and stuff like that. And then when people call and need help, there's no money there. Those are things that, as a federal government, as a congressman, I can have oversight for and push more money back into the systems that can help our state. My job is basically to make oversight and push more money down to the state so when people like Susanna get into office, we can take care of our local municipalities. And that's my goal when I get into Congress.
Okay, we're going to go on to the second question. It's regarding growth, flooding, and infrastructure. Florida continues to grow rapidly, but many communities are dealing with overcrowded roads, strained schools and utilities, flooding, and development that outpaces infrastructure. What would you do to make growth more responsible and ensure developers and government protects existing residents and communities?
So I'll go first since she went first last time. Okay. I'm going to go back to what, she's probably going to say it again, but I think we need to give that power back to the local government. We know our city better than Tallahassee. They're taking the power away from us because what happens is when we stand up and fight, it gets delayed and get delayed. Tallahassee, they just write them a check and it's like, hey, just slide that in your pocket real quick. Approved. That's what's happening, and that's what we have. That's when we see what was happening now. I live in Mount Dora. During Hurricane Milton, the roads got washed away. The county was like, no, we need to vet these people. We need to do this. We need to do that. Nope, state government came in, built up a road in a couple weeks. We were like, wow, that was pretty quick. A thunderstorm came. The roads washed away again.
Oh, man.
It's because I just hit on it before. We keep building and building and building and not doing studies and doing our due diligence and looking at the environment of the ecosystem and things that impact infrastructure, right? We cannot allow just doing things because it will fill your pockets. We need oversight. And I also hit on it that when we have these people coming in building these massive apartment buildings and stores and everything, they need to pay their fair share because that contributes to more traffic, more wear and tear, more schools need to be built, more police officers and fire department needs to be had. We end up being the ones paying for it as taxpayers. And they just collect profits. They need to pay their fair share. I think they want to contribute. They want to build a massive things, and there's no way that we can stop it because Ron DeSantis wants them. What we can do at a local level is make them offset the costs. Something on a federal level we can push for as well. These are things that you want this new apartment complex that's gonna give us 32,000 residents. Well, that school over there is already full. You need to build a new one. You need to give us 20% to build these roads around where all these stuff is gonna happen. We need to make people pay their fair share. We need to stop being the ones to pick up the baggage for these big $1 million and $1 billion corporations, and we don't get nothing in return. So that's my take on that.
Susanna.
Totally agree with everything Ronnie just said. I mean, the reason that I'm running for office in part is because I used to go to the county commissioner meetings and I was complaining about overdevelopment. And I realized that the county commissioners don't have that much of a say, although they do right now for this agricultural enclaves law. They could file an injunction. So there's actually something that we could do. They're going to have to pay to do that, but they could actually potentially delay that. I don't know how long. But usually, for the most part, the Board of County Commissioners doesn't have the same oversight that they used to because home rule has been taken away by the Florida legislature. They say that it's the free state of Florida, but it really is only if you're a corporation or super wealthy. And like Ronnie said, we have to have infrastructure first. We have to actually have studies. And in St. Johns County, we had the big, huge development plan. Raise your hand, who was involved in checking those out for the county development plan? I was there. I know my husband was there. My mom was there. You went. Anybody else, Nadine? Yeah, so in St. Johns County, we had a big, huge, comprehensive development plan. And DeSantis said, nope, too much green space, psych, got rid of it. And the thing is that we have to have planning before development. And when I started running for office, I started meeting with policy experts, like I said, the property appraiser. I also met with the river keepers. And Susan went with me. And it was really, really helpful to better understand the environmental impact that we're seeing because we have the Florida Forever Fund that's supposed to be funded each year. We had a ballot amendment and it passed resoundingly with both parties. And we're not funding it. So it's supposed to buy land and also help protect the environment. So we need to fully fund Florida Forever. Yep. But what's really important is that we're a peninsula. And if we don't protect the water, the wetlands and the swamps and the floodplains, we're going to have massive, massive problems. And we're already seeing it right now. So we do have to protect the land that protects us because those are essential. And we're just starting to build on them. And we also need to, like I said, fully fund Florida Forever. But we also have to build smarter, prioritize infill, mixed use, and have walkable developments where roads, utilities, and services already exist. So I will be a loud, persistent advocate for responsible growth and to try to help keep North Florida from looking like South Florida because we need to maintain what we have here before it's too late.
Good job.
Do you want to do rock, paper, scissors for the last one? Oh, we both did it.
Oh, did we? I wasn't even looking.
Okay.
You got it.
All right.
No, but you were paper, so you got it.
Okay, I won.
Okay, Ronnie. We're going to start with Ronnie. And this question is about why are you the best candidate? Why should voters choose you over the other candidates in your primary? And what makes you the strongest nominee for the general election?
I think I said that already, but I'm gonna repeat myself a little bit more. I think I'm the best candidate because I didn't decide to serve the public a few months ago. I've been a public servant my entire life, like as far as I can remember. Like I told you, I started serving in my church, up into EMS, up into law enforcement, nonprofit, giving back to community, standing up for people. That's been my entire life. I've seen what this government can do and not do. I stood up to bullies. I helped families on the worst of the worst. And I'm bringing you real life experience. I didn't do this just to be a politician. I don't want to be a politician. I just want to be somebody that can take care of our community. Because that's what everybody's really just looking for, is somebody to turn to that can be that voice for us in Washington and say, listen, this is what we need. This is what I want. We have built a real strong grassroots campaign. We're really doing it. We have a good, strong team behind us. We're knocking on doors. We're meeting voters where they at. We raised a lot of money. We have a good, strong team behind us. And I think we really have a good chance of getting it done. I know what it means to struggle. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I worked for everything I have. I was born up in New York City in the projects. My mom did the best she can every day. It's those things that you don't take life for granted. I worked my way up all the way to being the first person in my family in many generations to graduate with a bachelor's degree from college. Because I'm showing my kids that you can do whatever you put your mind to and just stand up and be whoever you want to be in life. And this current administration is trying to take everything away from them. And we are their protectors. Not only me, those are my kids, but we as a whole, because teachers, doctors, lawyers, that's our future. And you never know, that can be your next congressman growing up, or your grandchild's teacher. What are we leaving our kids in this world? So I believe I'm the best candidate because I have a proven track record of getting things done, standing up to bullies and being the best I can be. I served my entire life, and I'm asking for a chance to serve you. I'm not promising anything, because I can't promise. I can't look in the future, but I can tell you this, and I can promise this though: I would try my damn hardest to make sure that we get what we need in this district. Thank you.
Suzanne, I'm going to ask you the same question, but given that you're not in a primary, that you have no other, what makes you the strongest nominee for the general election?
Well, I have to say I'm very thankful that I don't have an election in August, because I've become more comfortable talking in public, and I didn't get all shaky at the BOCC meeting today for the first time, so that was really quite wonderful, but that's kind of irrelevant. I'm not running to be a career politician, unlike Sam Greco, who I'm running against. My goal is to actually come here to try to help be part of the solution instead of part of the problem. I won't take corporate PAC money, unlike Sam Greco. Like, for example, he took $10,000 from Sig Sauer for this gun that just accidentally fires without pulling the trigger. And then he voted accordingly. And he should know better, because he's an attorney, he's a JAG. Like, he really ought to know better than to do that. So I find that kind of despicable as a small business owner, because we have to pay tax, we have to pay insurance for our business. And our insurance has always been more expensive than our salaries. And the gun manufacturer should just do a recall, because that's why you have insurance. So for me, that's kind of it bothers me as a business owner. But the thing with the Florida legislature is, the day before the legislative session began, $14 million is the money that was donated in accounts for legislators. But it was both sides that took the money. It wasn't just Republicans. It was Democrats as well. So they got $14 million in campaign contributions in a single day. FPL, they got a $7 billion rate hike, the largest rate hike in utility history in the U.S. And then Ron DeSantis, our illustrious governor, got $250 million in his campaign PAC, donated by FPL's parent company. So there's this big system in Florida where you do something and then you get some money. And these kinds of things have to stop in Florida politics. And I won't do that. I will be accountable to the people in the district. And I also feel that I'm the strongest candidate because running my business, I always had to deal with irate customers, employee conflicts. And so I'm used to having to kind of be an arbiter, looking out for my staff. And I don't feel, so I'm good at I can talk to Republicans, I can talk to independents, I can talk to Democrats. And the things that are bothering everybody in Florida, it crosses party lines. It's not just, we have an affordability crisis that affects everybody, not just Democrats, not just Republicans or independents. And I will look for practical solutions and try to come up with ideas. Like at the last town hall, I was asked about food insecurity, and it really bothered me because I hadn't really thought about food insecurity too much, and I should have because I was on the board for Big Brothers and Big Sisters for 10 years. But there are a lot of things that we can actually do in the state of Florida about things like that that are just really easy. In Southwest Florida, there's already some farms that community gardens that you work together to have crops. And I know that some people in this room also are involved in some community gardens. And there are ways that we could build community gardens that people could have access to fruits, vegetables that they don't already have right now. And plus, if they worked on them together, it would build community, and it would be an inexpensive project that the state legislature could take on and expand. And it could bring food to food deserts that we have a lot of in the state of Florida. So I don't see Sam Greco looking at ideas and solutions and trying to come up with common sense ideas to make Florida more affordable. So what I bring to the table is a small business owner. I come up with ideas, I balance budgets, and I solve problems. And that's what I would bring to the Florida legislature. Thank you.
Thank you all. Now we have questions from the audience. I can either come around and someone can collect 3x5 cards, or if I can't read your handwriting, I will come to you with the microphone.
Do your best.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, I might need to get my reading glasses out for this. If someone only remembers one thing about you after tonight, what would you want it to be? Who wants to field that one first?
I'll go.
All right, Susanna.
I'll work for the people. Like, my goal is to be honest and be here to help make Florida better for everybody.
For me, one thing you remember that you will always have honesty, integrity, and somebody standing up for you every day. My line is always open. We have a good thing in place right now that our campaign answers back to emails and phone calls within 24 to 40 hours. I won't shut you out. And I definitely won't have all my offices inside government buildings. Police stations at that, right? So, but one thing remember to me, not only government-wise, but I'm always happy. I'm the happiest person ever. I look at life and say, listen, I learned that working in EMS, that you will have bad days, but if you smile, that next person will just look at you and smile, and you could brighten up their day. And so that's one thing about me, that even though I'm smiling, you don't know what's going on in the background, but you can make somebody else happy just by smiling.
That's nice.
She will.
Do you, so the question, do you want to address that question?
She did.
I kind of did at first.
Oh, okay.
So, but like Ronnie, I'll be here, I'll stand up, I'll have town halls. And honesty, like, my goal is not to do this but just to be here for the people and try to make life better.
You mean you'll have actual town halls?
Actual town halls, yes, because,
Okay.
Randy Fine.
Not one.
Sam Greco, I don't believe he's had any.
Not one. Sorry.
No, you're right. And the thing is like, it shouldn't distinguish a candidate saying that they don't do that. Like, they should just do that. They're supposed to be working for the people.
Yep.
absurd. I just keep on using that word. It's just astounding.
Yes. Okay. Next question. What would you do to protect wildlife?
Oh, I'm a big environmentalist. One of the things that my representative currently is trying to do is to rename or redesignate the Ocala National Forest to a national park.
Oh, I forgot about that.
You want to know why? Because the less protections for a park than a forest, and they can start doing development. I believe that they want to do that so they can start building these data centers somewhere. That's just because we hear it's going up, right? That's another big grift of mine is that we have to stop those AI data centers from coming in. And if we can't stop them because of our lovely government, that's why we need to get out and vote, because they're going to approve anything that lines their pockets. But that's why we need to bring back the home rule.
Yeah.
We need to give that power back to the local governments because we know our area more. But not only that, I spoke up on this before. Georgia has already, they have one of those, and the people are reporting murky waters and not, bad smells. They can't wash, they can't eat. Why would we even think about having something like that in the state of Florida if you see it's happening in other places and it's demolishing the environment and not only the environment, not only wildlife, but people. So we need to make sure that we protect our forests and what we have left, because if we don't take back our state and our country, they're going to just let them demolish the little bit of things we have left. And let's go back to beaches. I lived on a beach in New York City for the last 7 years of my life before coming down to Florida. We lost our house to Hurricane Sandy. We lived on Rockaway Beach. It's just like St. John's at the peninsula. And we went to our government and said, hey, we need our dunes, we need these studies, we need the jetties, we need a stronger, look at what's happening in New Orleans. The mayor of New Orleans even came down and said, look, you're due for a storm. Nobody listened to us. A year later, Hurricane Sandy. So we need to bring those protections here to Florida. We need to make sure we're protecting our beaches, our dunes. We need to stop them from just pouring sand and sand and sand, because it's not helping. It's just making it worse. We need real protections. We need to get actual people in the federal government that knows about these things, actual experts, not people who worked in wrestling and now run in the Department of Education, like stuff like that. Those are things that we can do on a federal level, and that's how I will continue to fight for.
Susanna?
So I'm very concerned about wildlife and preserving what we have in the state of Florida. I saw that horrible picture, I'm sure a number of you guys saw, of the cougar that was just the last tree that was lying underneath it in Florida. The whole development all of the trees just got cut down, and then they chopped that last one tree down. I'm concerned about the gopher tortoises. I'm concerned about development. I'd really like to see the developers actually doing the studies and relocating wildlife when they build the developments, because they seem to be going up really quickly. And I wonder if the gopher tortoises, which are a really important species in Florida, are actually getting relocated. I just don't know. I've been a scuba diver since I was 19 or 20, and going underwater, you can really see how the reefs are getting destroyed in the state of Florida, in the Caribbean, and it's really devastating. What I would love to see is, with developments, that we would have wildlife corridors from development to development before it's too late. We need to also have protections for the turtles that are nesting, with lights and making sure that they don't go towards the roads when they hatch. There's a lot that we can do, and there are organizations in Florida that are already working towards helping. There's an endangered bat in South Florida that I just posted it on Facebook, and all of a sudden we found out that it's coming back. We've got about 200 of them, which is fantastic. And there's a lot of people that care in the state of Florida and throughout the United States. that want to make sure that protections are in place to help animals, wildlife, and make sure that we have what the species that makes our state so special. So I hope that answers the question.
And I also had a fun fact, if you guys will let me. A fun fact is, I told you guys not too much sand, they keep throwing the sand. That actually hurts wildlife as well, because when the turtles, they leave a scent to come back home every couple of while to lay their eggs, and they can never find their way back home if we keep throwing sand on sand on sand, because that little pathway that they make, or that scent or whatever they use to get back home, it goes away when we keep just throwing more sand. Fun fact I learned. Thank you, Rebecca.
Okay, next question. What is the one message you would say to all the families struggling?
I'm going to go first. I know how you feel. I just told you I mean, if anybody got $1 million in here to let me borrow, I'll give it back, I promise. But I'm pretty sure that a lot of us, probably know the struggle. Just keep going. Keep your head high and vote. I mean, the best way we can change something is if we get out and make the change. And one of the most powerful tools we have as Americans is the voting power. If you don't like something, change it. And I go out and canvass and I go to these red districts that vote Republican, and they tell me they struggles. I ask them, I said, so why do we keep making the same mistake every election then? If you saying you're struggling or you hurting, you want change, we need to be the change. You need to get in on vote. And once you get people that cares in the vote, you'll start seeing that change happen. But for right now, just keep going. You're doing the best you can.
It took us a while to get here, and it's going to take us a while to get out of the hole. But voting, like Ronnie said, that's what we can do, is you can bring a friend and have them bring 2 friends and have them bring friends. Make sure they're registered to vote. Get out there. There's a lot of candidates out there that really want to make a difference. And Ronnie and I are 2 of those candidates. And we can make changes, but it starts at the ballot box. Yeah. So we have to convince people to get out there. We have to convince the younger generation that we can make a change. Like, to me, it really breaks my heart to think about people in their 20s and their 30s. They've lived through Trump. They don't understand that we can actually have a government that works for us. And we've experienced that, and it can happen. That's what it's there for. It's not just for the millionaires and the billionaires. I mean, the billionaires in the US, less than 1,000 people control more than 30%, roughly 35% of the wealth in the entire country, which is back to absurd. Like, we need to tax the heck out of them. And break up the monopolies. The monopolies are killing small business. And those are things that Ronnie can address when he's in Congress. So there's things that we can do. We just have to have the willpower to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, we have a question here. I'm pretty sure it's directed to you, Ronnie.
Oh.
Because it says, what does united unafraid mean? And on Ronnie's placard back here, that's his slogan.
Yeah.
So what does united unafraid mean?
So this administration wants to divide us. When we were coming up with this, and I have a group of people that was with us, we need something that would show, I'm not going to say his name again, that guy and this administration, that no matter what you do, we're never going to back down from you. And one of the volunteers says, so we always going to be united, and we're not afraid of these people. I'm like, huh? It's a great slogan. So what we mean by that is that no matter what they try to do to us, we will always be united, and we will never be afraid to stand up for what's happening and stand up for the rights of all these people and everyone in this country, no matter if you're undocumented or you don't belong here, they say. I think everyone belongs here because we are the United States of America, and we're supposed to be the land of the free and home of the brave. And the way this administration has just twisted our country it's bad. But that's what that means, that we always will be united and unafraid, and we'll always stand up to anything that comes our way.
Thank you. Okay, that completes the 3x5 writing questions. Are there additional questions from the audience? Okay. Well, I want to thank Ronnie Murchinson-Rivera, candidate for U.S. Congress in Florida's 6th Congressional District,
Let's do it.
and Suzanna Pavelle, candidate for the Florida House in District 19. I also want to thank our volunteers, the Center for Spiritual Living, and everyone who joined us here tonight. Please make your plan to vote. Confirm your voter registration and polling location, and you can stay afterwards to meet the candidates, take photographs, and learn how to volunteer for them. Thank you.
And before we go, I want to also say thank you to Michelle for being a wonderful moderator and always stepping up when we need you. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Yes, thank you, Michelle, and thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good evening. Get home safe.